Here we go. Eric StrongQuest. Welcome to Control Talk Now, your smart buildings videocast and podcast for the week ending December 9th, 2018. This is episode 294, where we talk about smart building controls, HVAC controls, and whatever else your host and mine, the man, the myth, the legend is up to. So with that, let's welcome Kenny Smyers to another week on Control Talk Now. Welcome, Kenny. How's it going, big dog?
I'm doing okay, Eric. I had a rough morning. I played got athletic this morning, played some paddle tennis. I don't know if you've ever played that before, but it's outside. So you play in 20-degree weather today, and you just up and then you play like a little kid, run around chasing a ball. It's not like a tennis ball. It's a little bit deader, but a lot of fun, a lot of action. So I'm all beat up. My legs sore.
not for the faint of heart, man. I tell you what, that's a great cardio workout. So
well, it's a great sport, and I got to see some really good people playing. I've always enjoyed racket sports. I played racquetball, squash, tennis, now paddle tennis, and the guys. I listen to myself complain, and then I see guys 5 years older than me playing like demons because they stay in good shape and they just overlook all the little frailties like pain and all that silly stuff.
Yeah, what pain? Pain's the worst four-letter word there is, right, Kenny?
What pain? Anyhow, so it's great Sunday. It's football Sunday. A lot of things are happening, and it to me, it brings on our kind of a minor theme of today, and that is that this year is closing fast, rapidly. We are rapidly approaching the ControlTrends Awards on January 13th in Atlanta. We're seeing a lot of connections coming down the pike. We're seeing Ken St. Clair, the thrust from his the HR show sessions he's having. Probably posting that next week. But a lot of good things. And again, and the way the season is ending. Happy Hanukkah to those, and Merry Christmas upcoming. But there's not enough time in December to get everything done. It's really becoming cramped. There's a lot of.
Well, yeah, and I tell you what, we were a little worried about the ControlTrends Awards because we didn't get a lot of activity, and now we're getting phone calls from everybody. Trying to really get it wrapped up because I think everybody knows it's going to be a fantastic show this year. It's going to be at the Fox Theater, which is in and of itself absolutely marvelous. And I think we're going to have a full house, Kenny. So, in years past, we sort of had some extra tickets we could throw around. But this year, encourage, if you want to attend the awards that Sunday night, be sure to reach out to one of our sponsors. Our Platinums are on the right. They're the ones with the tickets. I suspect they would love to entertain you. If you're not sure, reach out to Kenny or me, and we can maybe put you in touch with one of the sponsors for sure. But I think it's going to be a spectacular event. Honeywell, one of our platinum sponsors, they moved their corporate building automation headquarters to Atlanta, and they are, Kenny, really, you could throw a rock at their headquarters. So I know they're planning something big. Tritium is planning something big, and of course, EZIO, our friend Gina Elliott, Mike Marston, the crew are doing a pre-party that you have to have an invitation to. We'll do a post this week with a link, but you need to reach out to Gina Elliott and those folks because they're planning something really special for their partners, which is going to be right before the ControlTrends Awards. And again, I think just due to the nature of how many people are interested, you're going to need a ticket for that. You're definitely going to need a ticket to get into the ControlTrends Awards. And the sponsors will have the tickets, okay? So our sponsors that haven't got their tickets yet, you will in plenty of time for the show. So with that, Kenny, it's exciting times. You and I get a little bit nervous before this is a big event, but we've been working on it for a while. And thanks to our sponsors, it's going to be marvelous, absolutely fantastic. We might have one or two sponsorships left. So really and truly, that's the way to go. So if you're wanting to come to the show and you don't have a sponsor, you're not a sponsor and you don't have some tickets, that might be the route to go.
Right, and even the sponsors are showing signs that they don't have enough tickets. Again, we're always driven by the venue and everything. Next year we're in Orlando, and
we might think the world to that. Right?
Well, I mean, just think about it, because then if you wanted to buy individual seats, it's possible. So, for all the people that try to keep, relate to what we're saying, is each venue has its own set of challenges, obstacles, limitations, limiting factors, and one of them is that we have a huge, beautiful banquet room, but again, it's limited, and we have an antechamber room that, like you said, EGIO has a contract for the pre-event, and they're going to have a limited number of people there too. The reality is that all the tickets are going to be consumed by the sponsors, so there's no individual ticket sales to individuals that just simply want to buy one ticket or something. So unfortunately, that's one of the limiting factors we have with the ControlTrends Awards. But next year gives us another opportunity. Please keep us up to date on what your thoughts are and how we can improve the process. But right now, that train's left the station, and we're heading into the destination that's going to occur January 13th, 2019 at the Fox Theater in Atlanta.
Well, there is, and there's another big date you need to remember, which is New Year's Eve, December 31st. And the reason we're saying that is that's when the voting officially ends for the ControlTrends Awards finalists. So, Kenny, and I thought it was very apropos. We're going to be acknowledging the superstars of 2018, so we thought it made sense to close the ballot midnight Eastern Standard Time on December 31st. So if you hadn't voted yet or gotten the ballot out to your network, there's still time.
Right, and like you say, it's a very very well received ControlTrends Awards voting process this year. I mean, it's just, again, we have 44 countries involved, and it's so remarkable. I just get a kick out of the internet every time I think about the globality of something like our ControlTrends Awards, how it just started here, obviously in North America, and the attention it's garnered throughout the world, and the global products that have taken a considerable interest, because North American market is very important to them, and they believe that one of the access points to the North American market is the ControlTrends and ControlTrends Awards. So thank you very much, and again, it's growing. We're very pleased, and thank you to all the supporters.
Well, and listen, if you happen to know Richard Reed from London, Richard won the Consulting Engineer of the Year award last year, along with Donnie Walker from Newcomb and Boyd. If you happen to know him, I still got his trophy at my office. And Richard, get somebody to reach out. We need to know how to get hold of you. Otherwise, I'm going to send you this Hello Kitty cup that my daughter uses, or actually my wife. So I'm going to take that away. So you either get the trophy, which is really nice, or we'll send you a Hello Kitty cup. It's your choice.
I don't know. A kitty cup could be a collector's item. No. Actually, the irony is that again, Rich, he's a very popular architect engineer, because he was nominated again this year out of England, UK area, and I think we'll have to get a hold of one of the EGIO folks, or
I bet Mike Salvador Dali Welch probably knows him. And Richard, we'd love to have you on the show. I mean, and we've had people from all over the world that come on the show. It's a very easy process. And whether you're Richard Reed or whether you're somebody who just wants to come on the show, if you have anything to say about smart building controls, we'd love to have you as a guest. There's actually a little link on the side of the ControlTrends.com site right underneath the voting ballot. You can click on that, give you the information, and we'll get you on one of our shows. So, all right, buddy. So you've been up in the cold. I've been down in the heat. And so now
wait. Let's talk about it a little bit. Tell me about this little, I don't say adventure, but you went on a professional sabbatical. You went down and got something deeply immersed into something that's one of your favorite hobbies. Tell us about that.
I don't know whether professional is the right word for it, but I'm really big into photography. Love it. And there's an event every year in Miami this time of year. It's called Art Basel. And it's huge. People from all over the world come, artists from everywhere. And Miami's also, they have the International Street Photography's Festival down there too. And I'm a street photographer, among other things, which basically means you're out on the street trying to capture moments and document moments or do street portraits. So every year I go down and I take a course with a teacher, and I've got a couple buddies that we meet there. And we roam the streets of Miami 24/7 and take photos. It's just a great time. But had an amazing teacher this year who really opened up some doors and stretched me a bit. And so a guy named Nick Turpin, Turpin, out of London, England. And he has just done some phenomenal work. Go to his website and check it out. But anyway, Kenny, I've come back from that and ready to get back to the ControlTrends Awards. Like you say, a little bit renewed and with some new creative ideas that hopefully will show up when we do the videos and the media collateral for the ControlTrends.
Well, I think it always has a positive impact. I mean, it's just like reading a good book. I mean, anytime you bump into something that has a different perspective and a different technique, it's all a matter of synergies and hybrids. And but I think that's a good kick. It's a good launch point to cover. We have a kind of a short week on the posts. This is a sponsor week where many of the products and solutions that are making impacts throughout North America and around the world. And this first post is a global product and product solution, is that there's technology. We talked about IoT till we beat it to death. Made that IO, made the O small case, lowercase O, because we just talked about it so much. We kept trampling on it. But it's now actually manifesting in many, many fabulous products where the technology and the footprint to get that technology inside of a controller or inside of a solution has been reduced in scale, so that number one, it's affordable. Number two, it's manageable. People can pick it up and learn it. And number three, it keeps improving. And that takes us to our first post, where we have new Optergy help desk. Now it's live. And what I mean by that is, as you rise, in your market and you're successful, that brings on many, many challenges. And one of them is to provide continuous support, meaningful support, critical, timely support. And so I congratulate Optergy. They're very excited about the the new help desk, which features, it's live, and so it's called the Optergy Partner Portal, and users are able to access this feature via the help desk on the home screen or from my account through the help desk. And what it features, it'll allow you to keep track of the new and outstanding tickets. They'll have the ability to link to a site, providing better transparency and support history. And of course, this will enable Optergy to provide you with a higher level of support in the future. So good stuff from Optergy.
Very cool stuff. And if you haven't had a chance, Steve Galizium, he reached out to us several years ago regarding the ControlTrends Awards, became a sponsor, and has been working with us ever since. Huge down under in Australia, and their products are making headway in the U.S. and around the world, but very, very innovative products. Steve, not his first rodeo. I think he was with Honeywell, with Allerton. I might have that not 100% right, but
Allerton.
Allerton. So he had done a lot, Kenny, in the U.S., so he understands our market. And so, again, it's one of these companies, kind of like EasyIO and some of the others. They don't have any legacy products, so they're designing from the ground up and create some very interesting products. And we have many, many videos of Steve and Optergy on ControlTrends. If you're curious about them, you can just go to ControlTrends in the search window, type in Optergy. Kenny will spell it for you, and you'll find a bunch of stuff.
Well, Optergy, Optergy. But
you'll find it. There's not a dearth of stuff there. There's a plethora of stuff. I got two.
Oh, he's trying. No. They got to be more syllables. It has to be a polysyllable. Polysyllable. There we go. It has to have more than two syllables there. I'm kidding.
All right.
Now, listen, you're up on me. I'll have to be prepared next time.
But I'm not. No way I'm going to be polyamorous. So.
Oh dear, you're on a roll.
But Polyprotic lines, I think, is a must if you're in the smart building controls business now.
All righty.
How about for an poly opinion?
I was flying on the Delta airplane, and they have that Trivia Pursuit type of game or whatever. And what is the longest word in English language?
It's got to be supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, right?
Boom. Yeah.
Is that it?
It is.
But what does it mean?
It means fantastic.
Oh, does it? Okay.
Yeah, it says it. Yeah.
All right. Well, the ControlTrends Awards are going to be supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. So make sure you get some poly tickets and come and become a poly sponsor if you want to. We don't want any monogamous sponsors. Go ahead.
Oh, dear. But I'm very impressed. You won here. I've given you another check mark. So I did my homework. You won the word battle this week again. 3 in a row. Next post up, we have the 2018 ControlTrends Awards Innovative Wireless Product of the Year finalist, IO FW14. And again, as we keep talking about innovation and an impact and the reduction in footprint and the reduction of obstacles, the layers to get to the end zone, it's so when you put a product together that when you plug it in and bring it online, get it on the internet, that has the freely programmability, so it's for multiple applications. This particular FW14 can do fan coils, air handlers, room applications, standalone applications. It's also ideal for vertical markets such as schools and retails that have to extend their input-output along a network, so they can give you that wireless network support. So, and again, when you use wireless, then you're talking about your reduced downtime. You can install the networks with very little impact. You don't have to shut people down. You have to tear down or take down the ceilings and drop, make things problematic. So it definitely becomes a very viable solution for the small and medium applications, which we know, as we talk time and time again, race to the small space. When you need something, even in your truck now. So we're seeing contractors begin to stock this, and it's kind of a universal controller. Again, I think EasyIO keeps shying away from HVAC and building automation controllers, and they're insisting that this is an IO controller. IoT controller, so it doesn't have the marketing limitations. It's only good for an HVAC or a boiler room or a chiller. This is good for anything you need requiring network capability and input and output control. So whether it's lighting, whatever, it's up to you. You got the wire sheet. You can engineer and design it yourself. So it's pretty cool stuff.
Well, again, EasyIO is one of those companies that we've been with them, I think, really since they came to the U.S., Mike Marston and Lim Hoonchot and that team. So I think early on we coined a phrase. They call it easy for a reason. And you know what? I like Kenny. They keep designing more and more sophisticated controls, but the commonality is they're so very easy to use. And you've got an EasyIO story to tell. You told me a story the other day that I think bears repeating to our ControlTrends community, because I think these are the type of stories that need to be shared. Several years ago, SK Fu won Best Technical Support at the ControlTrends Awards. And you had an experience with SK here recently you were telling me about. And tell our community a little bit about the service you got from him.
Well, I think it's remarkable. We just talked about Optergy expanding its support network. Well, EasyIO has gone through a transition themselves, and it's really cool when you're able to get an answer back, because SK Fu is in Malaysia, so he's 13 hours ahead of us. We're learning how to keep time in India, Malaysia, England, Germany, of course, our family's in Germany. So, but it's true to the global front. So what SK Fu did the other day was we had a problem where we couldn't get a connection between an LCD and a controller. It should have worked. Everything was being done right. Well, here it turned out to be a case of small case, lowercase versus capital letters. We were using capital letters on the first letter of each word in the title, line one. So line one had to be a small L. So it was but the fact that he supported us out of Malaysia, came online and basically was available. Right now, we know that Brian Klein has taken over the primary responsibilities for North America. And we know that EasyIO is expanding even that. So, SK Fu is remarkable. It just shows you the growth of the company. SK used to come and do the training. It was either Lim, Mike, or SK. And now, of course, you've got, other companies training in EasyIO. EasyIO has certified companies to train the EasyIO CPT tool certification through agencies. No longer just EasyIO folks, but
right. Our Mike Bonner's a certified trainer at
right.
StrongQuest in Atlanta. Yeah.
Right. So just again, it's the kind of growth that really makes you take note that we watched that come from, I don't want to say infancy, but we watched it go from from a few years to a major player and a global player. So we're looking forward to the EasyIO World event. And again, we think we're transitioning to the ControlTrends Awards, in terms of, chronologically, because January starts the new year, and they've got a lot of stuff planned for the new year, and many of those roadmap-ish things will be discussed. Probably the first time it will be spoken to the EasyIO group will be at the ControlTrends Awards in the pre-event. So one of the things I think they have up on the agenda is the roadmap for 2019.
Nice.
So, but it's really good to see that the depth of support. So when you mentioned SK Fu, he's one of our favorite guys. He's smart gets. He loves his job, so he's got a passion. He tells me that he watches the computer while he's watching TV. His computer sits on his lap, and he enjoys figuring out why things don't work. And so when you have that kind of passion and you're just curious, incessantly curious, then you're typically very good at your job.
Well, and and Lim's that way too. So is Mike Marston, and of course, I say one of their best additions here in North America is Gina Elliott. Gina is a brilliant woman with lots of industry experience with Schneider Electric and other people, and just has a brilliant mind for organization and structure. And I think she's really sort of pulling these guys in, getting them going in the same direction. And wow. So look for
She's
great
giving
things from
the
EDO.
right, and she's giving them the organic. So it's growing. North America is going to start come up to. You're going to see some interesting things with these IO. You're going to start to see more of an alignment, more of a
Right.
corporate alignment. Some more organization. More of a documented progress and commitment. So,
Well, we miss Mike Marston. So, Mike, I know you listen to the show. Look, come on
well,
the show.
congratulations to Mike Marson and his daughter. Jenny got a full scholarship. She's going to be playing golf at Georgia State University.
Yeah, well, that's right down the street. But what I'm getting at is our community misses Mad Mike. And, one of the coolest things that he used to do was wherever he was in the world, he would, come on the show and we'd get the backdrop of Malaysia or India or France or wherever he was. And those were always fun. But, Mike, we miss you, buddy. Come on back on the show, man.
Yeah, just
Come
once
on.
in a while. Yeah, once in a while. Come on.
Once in a while.
Come on, Mike.
All right, brother.
Alrighty. Well, the next post again, it follows the theme. Some of these sponsors are coming out with some dynamite products, so it's very exciting to talk about it because they're going to impact the contractors and distributors at different levels. So Siemens announced the Seago Control Point release, I believe, in mid-November. It had already been out in Europe for over a year, so it's already tried and proven, but it's coming into the North American market real hot and heavy. We're not sure exactly how it's going to be distributed initially. It might just come through Talon partners or limited number of partners, but this thing is another real McCoy. The Seago Control Point is an end-user focused operating and monitoring interface that is accessible via touch panel, desktop, tablet, or smartphone. It provides a very cost-effective, in other words, it's not expensive. But then you can do major league stuff. You certainly can do all the operating and maintenance, monitoring functions for small or medium building. It also, complements a larger building, so that the Seago Control Point can serve as a room or equipment interface. So basically, we're talking about major league technology with new touch pads, new touch panels with touch-enabled graphics. The building graphics editor with customized graphics and dashboards that makes life a lot easier and simpler for contractors. The view and command points, manage alarms, configure schedules, all right there on the touchpad. So everything you'd expect and more is coming in with this Seago Control Point. And I know that Siemens is very excited, and I know that they're going through the final throes of where exactly this is going to come out in the different channels, but it's quite a product, and I've got to see the demo a couple of times, and I was very, very impressed.
Well, I can't wait to see it too, Kenny. And it seems like it's one of those products that's going to be scalable, to go from small to large, kind of like what we've seen with KMC and EasyIO and Distex and some of these other players. So it's exciting to see. Kind of as an aside, tell a story. I was sitting next to this woman on the plane coming back from Miami last night, and she was talking about her son who lives in Atlanta. She lives in Tennessee. I said, where does he work? Well, he works with Siemens. And was talking about what a great company it is, how happy it is. And he got lured away by Porsche in Atlanta, which is another German company. And he's an IT guy. And she said, yeah, Porsche had the real glittery stuff. I guess they do one of those movies, sci-fi movies, and that's what the main area and the Porsche thing looks like. And they have a racetrack where you can, in theory, drive Porsche cars around. But this is a really great story. So, he got lured away by Porsche, regretfully left Siemens, got over to Porsche, hated it, called his old boss at Siemens back, and they brought him back in. And, he's a Siemens are for life now. So, he just, so to hear a story like that lets you know that not only do they do good products, but it seems like it's a really great company to work for as well.
Plus, I thought you were going to say all that glitters is not gold. You missed that one because you said.
Well, we're not talking about marriage right now, buddy. We're talking about.
No, you said it was glittery Porsche. I'll tell you, Porsche makes a badass car. I one of the favorite things when you say Porsche, every time I hear the word Porsche, I think of one particular experience I had where a guy it was over in Germany and he had a turbo Porsche. And this thing was the racing model or whatever. It had it snapped the seat belt didn't come around your waist or across your shoulder. It snapped over your shoulders into this thing between your crotch, and it was very, like, what are we doing? We going to take off in a rocket? And we did. This guy, we go out on the Autobahn, hang out, and wait for some exotic car, and he said he never lost the race from the cars. The car didn't lose the race, the driver did, because these guys.
Yeah, no, I get you. Well, they're beautiful. They're beautiful cars, and it kind of reminds me. And I'm going to do a little tangent here because I think this is worth hearing in an age where we're all being hammered for lower prices, right? It's so extreme with Amazon and all. So part of this event I was at in in Miami is sponsored by a company called Leica, a German camera company. And Leica's been around forever. You know, they build beautiful cameras and so on and so forth. But here's the point I wanted to get to. Leica cameras are 4 or 5 times more than any other camera on the market, right? And they're not even necessarily worth it. As a matter of fact, their specifications are such that, you know, you can get a much less expensive camera that'll do more. But this is what I'm getting to. Leica will do something like they will defeature a product. Like they'll take a camera and they'll take the LEC screen off the back and they'll charge twice as much for it. And people, I was at the Leica event in Miami. People are lined up to give them $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 for cameras. It's unbelievable. So my point with all of this, if you really build value and build your brand, and it doesn't even have to be the product with the most specifications, you know, the best necessarily. I mean, it has to be quality for sure, but it doesn't have to have every bell and whistle. But what you do, you have to do really, really well. And you definitely don't seem to have a low price, is evidenced by, and every year it's the same thing. People are lined up out the door. They don't discount their products ever, and people are glad to pay for it.
Well, I just, you know, it's so ironic that you said that, because your story of Leica has stuck with me since the time you and I were walking through San Francisco. You were walking me up these hills trying to kill me.
Yeah, that's
Remember?
right. That's
trying
right.
to find that Leica place.
Yeah.
I had one more half a hill in me, and I was going to call an Uber, and we saw it. And I was just
And we
about
got
done.
it. But the other thing,
But the point that you're talking about is the newest product differentiation, the newest. This came out of a book, it was published in 2017, is where products are discovered and how they buy and sell and how they deliver it. A story, and it tells removal of features, reduction is less is more, less pain. Leica Cameras, Amazon.
Oh, they're in the book. They're in the book you read.
It was referenced, yes.
Oh, wow.
So they remove friction, they remove obstacles, and they focus on the expertise. And again, it's cultish too. I mean, people, again, it's like, you know, the people that have Leica are very proud of it. And they know they paid top dollar. But the point was that Leica says, if you want to be a good photographer, don't fiddle around with all these other options. Focus on these 2 or 3 things. You'll take the best pictures in the world.
That's it. That's exactly what they do. And you're right. And they also have a strong sense of community. So at this event, right, Leica's there in force. And, you know, there are 1,000, 1,500, 2,000 photographers down there. Leica's got a booth. You walk in. You want to borrow a camera to shoot with? Here's a camera. You know, they get your name and they get your phone number. You walk out with a $10,000 or $15,000 camera. You go shoot with it. And so it sort of builds that. And the best salespeople are other Leica shooters. So, you know, you hand somebody one of those cameras and they got to have it. You know, they just have to have it. And it's de-featured, like you say, it's de-featured. It's really focused on what's just essential. And their essential message, just like you said, is, hey, take away the clutter so you can focus on what's important, which is taking the picture. So, you know, it seems like this could go into our industry too, right?
It does. At some point it will. In other words, at some point, there's too many options. It's like you said, one of the primary, you know, important value-added aspects that a distributor brings to any kind of an end-user customer is filtering. Being able to, you know, differentiate between everything that's out there and bring significant technology to bear on a particular problem. So what happens is if you have too many features and you never use them, number one, it has to drive the price up. Yep. I see some of the cool things, like even the Jace, the webs, or all the different Niagara versions is so clever. The first time I ever experienced it was with Pitney Bowes. We'd get a Pitney Bowes postage machine, and we'd call in and say we need another $300 or something in our postage machine. And they would give us this, you know, 20-digit alphanumeric string, and we'd have a hard time, you know, putting it in correctly. It'd take 3 times for somebody finally get it in right, and then it would enable $300 more postage. So it was already in this. It was in the device, you know. Now we've got the 8,000 Jace 8000s that do the same thing. You know, so the customer starts out maybe with a 5 or a 10, expands the project. You know, so cool that it's already there. It's already prepackaged. It's enabled. All you got to do is license it differently, and then all of a sudden it exposes these different features. To include the security thing. You remember, we had 3 or 4 different Jaces, 5 different Jaces actually. Right. And now it's just one Jace, one core unit. So I see this technology becoming, to me, that's de-featured. In other words, because you only license the features that you wanted. You know, right. And yet for the inventory purposes, you can put that same.
Yeah, it simplifies the whole thing. Yeah, no, brilliant.
But there's more things about the But you're right. I think you hit something that's very important to talk about. The reducing the friction and features in some of our light commercial building solutions is the key to accessing that big triangle part of our market that we still can't get over. Rick Jones the other day on a conference call said something that was very, very interesting about it's CapEx. Nobody in this real estate world that we live in that are in this small commercial buildings or medium-sized commercial is going to remove working thermostats for a very expensive, what they perceive to be a very expensive replacement, just for the sake of it. In other words, because the building comes in, it's working with thermostats, there's a perception. It's a very difficult thing to take the ROI feature. So Rick was saying how the energy department, how rebates become so important, and in the push to green, because thermostats are limited, by their nature, by how they're built. So the idea of selling a DDC system to these guys that are fighting over, their thermostat that's working and they perceive is good enough, but meanwhile their bills are so high and they can't understand why it keeps going up and up and up because it can't make the bridge connection to the next level of technology. It used to be too far away. The span on that bridge was something more than what they wanted. It had graphics, had this, that, and the other. So as we see all these ones, we just went through them. We went through the FW14, we went through Optigy, we just went through the Control Point from Siemens. We're making that bridge smaller, more manageable financially, and the story is that we're not trying to sell you a big front end anymore. We're selling you something that you can put on that building, interface it with your phone, and not have any of the parts and pieces you don't want.
Well, I get you, Kenny. The other thing, and maybe it's not feasible in our industry because it's changing so quickly, but the other thing that makes Leica so appealing is Leica will give you a good trade-in. So you buy a Leica, and I have several of them. I have one that's older than me, a film camera, that is like my favorite camera. But they'll give you a good trade-in. They charge you 3 or 4 or 5 times as much, but you get a good trade-in. So people will start with a Leica they can get on. They'll know they get value as they go forward. They're able to trade it in. And, you kind of think about, I wonder if anybody's ever going to come out with some sort of a program like that where you go in and, hey, that's cool. I wonder if there's a market for like a refurbished or a used control system, right? Hey, trade it in our latest control system. They take that one back, and somebody that's more dollar conscious can now put this in their building or whatever. Again, it might not play well with controls in that way, but it might play well with controls along the lines of maybe some sort of a rebate on or trade-in, a good trade-in or something like that.
Well, we saw that with Flame Safeguard. Remember, you always had to get the core unit. The reason why they wanted those back was they wanted to trash and make sure they didn't get to the rebuilders. But there has been several trade-in, trade-up programs, excuse me, that have been very successful over time. And but the thing with electronics and the thing about liabilities and things, the camera thing sounds really neat. I know I've seen your fondness in the Leica camera, and that's one that only takes black and white, though, right? So no,
well, one of mine only takes black and white.
Oh,
and so I own a couple of them. But imagine in an age, everybody's doing Instagram and color. They come up with a camera, and it just they take the color aspect out of the sensor, and they say it takes better black and white pictures. It probably does. I can't tell the difference because you can convert color pictures to black and white. And you have the best of both worlds, but it's one of their hottest sellers.
Well, I'll tell you, that's really neat stuff. And again, to transition, there's another very awesome control line that has a very successful VAV controller. And this is Distex Eclipse Connected VAV Controller Series. Robust, compact, designed for your VAV applications. And we got a nice video that accompanies this post. And of course, this is just basically repurposed marketing, but I do read these things and learn about why these guys have such success with these VAV controllers. To the best of my knowledge, they're the first VAV on a large scale that has PoE, Power over Ethernet VAV controllers, so that you can see a controller where it has the communications coming in, Ethernet, and the power's coming in Ethernet, and it is a pretty slick setup, and wireless. So again, the wireless impact, it's one of those sleepers now. But we're seeing more and more desire for wireless installations and wireless connectivity. If they can go, the difference between wired and wireless, it used to be default to wire because it's more secure, more reliable. Well, I've seen some kind of a change. And I don't know if it's all about the installation cost being reduced or people have more confidence in their wireless connectivity. They've figured out a lot of
probably a little bit of both.
Right. So we're seeing. So I can see how the various wireless VAVs are starting to take hold and become the preference. Used to be a hard sell. Now it's more like, can we use wireless, or why can't we use wireless? And then you figure it out. But again, so if you come into a wireless where you got a great 90% of it is very conducive to wireless and a mesh style, and the more you put in there, the and more reliable the network becomes. When you do have that occasional steel wall or firewall or something that you can't get through wirelessly, you could connect controller to controller versus using the IP.
Right.
And so you go around that little issue with some technology, actually just having more features on the controller. So very, very good line. Congratulations, Distex. That's why you're doing so well, is coming up with some great products.
Well, they're coming up with some great products. And, there's something else about Distex, and I can't put my finger on it, Kenny, but I mean, they've done a great job marketing. They've done a great job sort of infiltrating the marketplace and building their brand. As they're known by Acuity now, it gives them some unique opportunities to work with the lighting. But, they are just a great company. And, our friend Scott Hamilton's over there now, one of, a great exec over at Siemens. And, Scott's one of the all-time great people, as well as Josh Felburn. So they got good folks, as we talked about earlier, just completely unsolicited. I found out what a great place it was to work from somebody that was in, not even dealing with our industry. But Distex is, they're a really, really good company, and we're pleased. StrongQuest is taking them on. Our customers have pretty much insisted that, hey, we want you to have Distex as well. So Distex, we were able to come to terms with them. So we're a proud Distex distributor as well. So excited about that.
Well, it's great. And again, they have made a specific portion of their product portfolio available for that small to medium-sized market. And I'm going to say it till I turn blue in the face, but there's just so much market out there. We haven't really even turned over the big rocks yet in the creek of market potential. But I think as we're seeing more and more of these great marketeers and the messages, the stories being told, coming out, the reiterations, whether it's LCBS Connect, whether it's Verisys, whether it's the Distex, whether it's Linkspring, which is our next post coming up, we're finding out in EasyIO, we're finding out more and more solutions that were not engaging in the big vertical buildings. They were engaged deliberately to go after specific markets, national accounts that have stores that are 20,000 feet or 15,000 feet, restaurant chains, shoe stores. I read an interesting thing on Linkspring, the post coming up right now, as 125 stores, and they want a very simplified but unified solution. It was a hard thing to do a while back. 10 years ago, it'd be like, you need 4 or 5 people, 4 or 5 lines involved.
Hang on a second. Hang on, Diddy. Simplified and unified. That's a catchy phrase. Simplified and unified. I like it. it.
Where that comes from, though. I got to give credit where credit's deserved. That's Bill. That's Bill from
Bill Duckelberger from Blue Ridge Technologies.
That's their marketing. That's their logo.
So I got a question for you, Kenny, and then let's move on to the Linkspring post. Which vendor, based on this podcast, is going to come out with a promotion? If you sell X amount of product, you get a Leica camera. Which one do you bet is going to be the first one to work with Leica to incentivize our community with a great Leica camera?
Oh, that'd be like the German colleagues would be probably the closest affinity, but I doubt it because that's a reach. I'm going to say the StrongQuist company.
Maybe we will. Yeah, Siemens might be it, or I could see Mad Mike doing something like that. It's like.
The fun. I watched you many times take that camera and you go off in your different world. So there has to be something. I know there's different callings. But and you do post a lot of great pictures, especially now of your kids. stuff that doesn't have anything to do with controls, control trends, but you can tell that you got a profound desire to keep taking more pictures. So that's kind of cool. And I've seen your studio. I've seen all those pictures hanging out there along the walls on the way down to your studio. So it looks pretty cool too.
Well, and listen,
hanging on clothespins.
Yeah, that's right. Well, listen, real quick, just got to give a shout out to Stromquist and Company's Bill Jones. Bill is the guy who really got me into photography, and Bill Jones is a fantastic photographer in his own right, and hopefully he'll be taking pictures at the ControlTrends Awards. So, Bill, thanks for everything. All right, Kenny, let's get on the Linkspring.
Well, Linkspring has just been, again, continuous evolving, continuous innovation, and continuous progress. So Linkspring is really proud. They put a press release out through Robin Bestel that they're going to demonstrate technology and solutions empowering the edge in the cloud at the HR2. They're going to demonstrate technology and solutions empowering the edge and the cloud at AHR Expo 2019. That was a mouthful. Sorry.
So they're going both ways.
Well, I think what happened was they were one of the first guys to go to the edge.
That's right.
In fact, they came up with the E2E. If you look at the post, there's a neat capture of one of the screenshots from their website where they show the edge. They were one of the first companies that, I think they were maybe fourth that I knew of, that deported Niagara. They put it into a very smaller controller, the 584. That they were hugely successful because it was all about getting power and getting the features of Niagara to the edge controllers. So you didn't have to buy a supervisory controller. You could buy a smaller controller, and you could program the heck out of it and solve your problems. And then we watched the migration of data. Once it had to be shot up to the internet, and so the cloud. I mean, so we heard some great feedback. At the various shows we were at here recently, where a lot of IP controllers. That's the primary reason why they want IP in these controllers, is to give them the horsepower and the ability to take that data and burst it to the cloud. So it has a whole lot more bandwidth and a whole lot more throughput.
Right.
But a lot of people, we came back where we saw the one presentation where cloud is good for certain applications, but the best way to solve data and put data back into the equation and the algorithms is to do it at the edge.
Very cool. So is it fair to say that Linkspring is going to go polydirectional with their network?
Polydadenal. No.
Polydadenal. I like that. Yeah. There you go, Kenny. Polydadenal.
Anyhow, and Mark Peacock, of course, Chief Marketing Officer for Linkspring, this is a layup for him. He's delighted when he gets to tell everybody that they've got some really neat stuff to show at the booth. They're at booth C5352. That's Charlie 5352. And the Linkspring team will be there to greet you, but they're taking appointments now. So if you want to make get some in-depth FaceTime with these guys, take advantage of the offer, schedule yourself, because they've got some really neat solutions. And again, and Linkspring also can get you into connections. They can get you into different aspects of the industry. They provide services. They also provide project support. So there's a lot more to Linkspring than meets the initial post, but connect yourself, get on that URL listing, visit their site, and you'll see some really neat stuff.
Yeah, congratulations, Terry Swope, Mark Peacock, and the rest of Team Linkspring.
All right, Eric, our last post. We're going to let you kind of take control of this one here, because these are great posts that come out of the archives of StrongQuest and Company, and this is what you used back, I think, one of your primary modus operandi. You saw, we keep repeating the stuff. Let's get this on video so that we don't have to bring trainers in here each time and do this as a start, that we got some kind of archival library, and then this was one of the results of it.
Well, it goes back to, I think, 2014, 2015 at StrongQuest Company, strongquest.com. We live stream a lot of our training because people can't always come into the office. And this was a 6-part DDC class. We broke it up into 6 separate parts. And we sort of got back on this. I think it might have been our friend Stevie G, or one of our from Optergy, or somebody was looking for some
it was
Stevie G. Okay, was looking for some videos for people that were getting in the industry or wanted a refresher on building automation controls. He found episode 1, loved it. And I think part of what goes on when you post a lot of content, Kenny, it's really easy for stuff to sort of get lost in the shuffle. So when we come up with something that's really extraordinary, we get it requested, we'll repurpose it, get it back again. But a lot of positive feedback on this particular video. As a matter of fact, on YouTube, on episode 1, I think we had 15,000 viewers on that. which, by the way, thanks to our YouTube watchers, we're up to 8,300 subscribers on YouTube. So thank you very much for that. So
good stuff.
In addition to our iTunes and Vimeo consumers as well. So, but good stuff, and we'll keep posting. We'll eventually post all 6 again, but and we're putting links back and forth so they're easy to find.
You hit something like you said, that things can get lost on a website, and that's why that search bar is so important. But some of the other great learning libraries are on the ControlTrends website, or again, links to things like contemporary controls, BACnet basics,
right?
An 8-part study, introduction to mastery. I would say mastery, but certainly an accomplished use, the best ways to use BACnet and different things you encounter on a BACnet network. But they did a really good job, so, and I think we've linked to Ken St. Clair. Ken St. Clair is also linked to a lot of things with ControlTrends. So,
well, and then there's a bunch of Easy IO trainings up there as well. So
sure. And then the VFD, that's always one of the VFD, programming a VFD in 28 seconds. That's still as cool
Tim
as
Chambly, yeah. Oh, no, it was, Brian Kagi, wasn't it?
He's from Honeywell.
Brian Kagi. He was with Honeywell. Now he's with Brody Precision. So hi, Brian Kagi.
Right, but that was always a very cool popular thing. So yeah, it's a Honeywell VFD video training series. But that was always one of my favorites because you know what? No matter how many times you do it, every time I get to sell one or have to go out and or give support to something, I watch that video just to remind myself of the.
And then we got to give props to the aforementioned Mr. Bill Jones, because our number one post of all time, and it gets hit every day, is a post he did back in the day. I think he's up for 400,000 or 500,000 hits on this particular post, which is the difference between a mixing valve and a diverting valve. That 100, 200 hits every single day. So congratulations, Mr. Jones, on that too. We just call this the Bill Jones episode.
Well, I'll tell you what, he's a great employee, great guy, and he's a motorcycle. I tell you, he's got about 5 or 6 professional training capabilities. I think weapons. He
makes custom made knives. I mean, the most beautiful knives you've ever seen, because he understands steel, he understands tempering and all that, and I think he sells those on eBay or something like that, or Etsy. So again, Bill Jones at Stromquist Company, call him up and said you heard about him. But you're right, he's an incredible knife builder. He rebuilds motorcycles.
Building automation, knife builder, motorcycle instructor. I know he certifies people on it.
Right, and he rebuilds
small arms, marksman, trainer or whatever, and then
great camera guy.
Well, you great camera guy. There we go.
Yeah, and probably one of the best flame safeguard people left in the industry. You know, Bill's a little bit older, but he got his start with flame safeguard, and I tell you what, he knows stuff most of us forgot. But I got to tell you the story how I met Bill Jones. Okay, I was out on the road in Florida. Bill was working for a company called Timpaco, right? And so I'm down calling on his branch manager, and the guy asked about a particular spring or something, and Bill goes, "Yeah, it's the 1213. The spring is 503-8435. And I looked up, he was absolutely right. I go, Bill, how do you know that? Bill has a photographic memory. So it's he might not still, he's older now, so it might not be quite, but that blew me away. And I pursued Bill probably for 8 or 9 years before he finally came to work for us. But you just talk about a guy, great customer support, great customer service. But if you have any flame safeguard stuff or gas regulator stuff, Bill's your guy. Or camera stuff, or if you want to buy a knife, or if you want to know how to kill somebody, call Bill.
Uh-oh. We'll strike that last one.
No, we can't edit that. I'm being silly, and I think our community knows that. But he's a good guy. He'll be at the ControlTrends Awards, and so you'll get a chance to meet him. But in the meantime, call him up and order something from him.
Well, Eric, that was a wrap on the post. So
let's call it a wrap. It's been a good show. So much for our short and sweet shows. Kenny, I get to talking, and nothing shorter.
Where are we at?
Nothing's truncated when Kenny and I start talking.
Where are we? 54, 55 minutes?
Probably. Okay, here we go, big dog. Thank you so much. That's another week on Control Talk Now, your smart buildings videocast and podcast. We hope you have a wonderful week. Get ready for the holidays. Remember, be bold, stay in control, stay ready.
Indeed.
All right. Thank you for that.